Small businesses are among the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, but not all hope is lost. Industrialist Adam Molai has made millions in funding available to help African entrepreneurs kickstart their businesses. Now, where and how do you apply for this boost? Molai joins us now via Zoom to tell us more about the application process. Thank you very much, Mr. Molai. So you've said that African entrepreneurs don't get enough access to startup funding for a myriad of reasons. Before we get to your funding kickstart program, what are those reasons?
To you and your viewers. There's a lot of challenges coming really from knowledge of what funding options are available, first of all. And the options that are there are also very limited, and there's also laborious requirements in terms of collateral, tenure, and there's generally a bias towards traditional metrics, which if they were continued, you wouldn't have the Facebooks of this world, because we're still steeped in that old traditional metrics at looking at our businesses. And then the final one is the red tape. I mean, our access to capital is very slow, it's repetitive processes, and it takes a long time to be able to access the funds. And those are the challenges that we're trying to address through this process.
At present, the largest proportion of venture capital investment in Africa is dominated by North America, Asia and Europe. Why is it so important for Africans to invest in African entrepreneurs?
Well, if you look today, there's been growth. I mean, it's grown from 300 million to 1.4 billion between 2017 and 2019. So there has been growth in venture capital, but it's only 1% of global venture capital. And unless we as Africans start to show confidence in our own peers, you won't have those from other continents investing. So we have to create the confidence, and that confidence is then what breeds the confidence of peers to then invest alongside us. So that's at the essence of it. And secondly, we also as African entrepreneurs have to inspire our young entrepreneurs. They have to be able to see that a young African who's grown up in the township, who's grown up in the villages, has also been able to get onto the continental stage in terms of running their business, and therefore it's possible for them to do the same. So it's a two-stage thing. One, in terms of making sure that we inspire those on our continent, and secondly, making sure that we increase the lines of access to capital.
So entrepreneurs watching this have their ears pricked, waiting for the information of how they can apply. What's the process, and where can they go for more information?
Well, we've created a really simple process, Anlie, and it's an online process. So effectively, they just have to access the website, and from the website, we have the application forms, and then that application process will close by the end of January. We'll then start a process of funneling those applications until we have about 100 finalists, who will then bring into what we're calling the Jua Kickstarter Olympics, which is a 5-day process where on the first day, we have people pitching their deals, and then the successful ones from that day, we go to the next one where people are presenting their marketing opportunities and the risks that they see in terms of entering the market. By the third day, the numbers are reducing, and we are now looking at financials and how the business looks financially. And again, we lose more applicants. By the fourth day now, we're now at the crux of the matter. We're discussing issues of your team, because ultimately a business is about people and the quality of skills you have on there to be able to deliver whatever it is that you have as your vision for the business. And so that's a very critical part of the process. Finally culminating with negotiating the deal on the 5th day, and we envisage that at the end of that process, we'll then have disbursement happening within 12 weeks. So it addresses those issues that I raised earlier, which is, one, making sure that it's a meritocratic process, which is transparent and everybody's able to see it. And as well, there's a fast process to accessing the funds, but without the encumbrances of having to raise collateral and all those other issues that afflict small businesses at the moment.
Before I let you go, I have to ask you about a very important issue. South Africa has received its fair share of criticism from its African neighbours for xenophobic attitudes. At the moment, we're grappling with attacks on trucks, and the understanding is that local drivers don't want to compete for work with foreign drivers. Jobs are scarce and the market's highly competitive. But amid that unfriendly terrain, we as South Africans need to find the balance and learn to work with our African neighbours. How do we do that?
You know, where that comes from, and in my view, is a mindset of scarcity. Because there's such scarcity on the continent, we fight for meager resources. And the only way we'll actually address this is through entrepreneurship. So the more jobs we create, the more businesses we create, the more employment we create, the less fight there is for these meager resources. So some of these societal challenges we see will actually be addressed through creation of businesses, through entrepreneurship. You look today, in China, 82% of employment comes from small businesses, 60% of GDP. But then you come in South Africa, 47% of employment comes from small businesses. And depending on who you listen to, 20% to 39% contribution to GDP. So unless we address the size of the cake, right, we'll always have these issues ravaging us. So the issue is about addressing the size of the cake, growing the cake through entrepreneurship, and then you'll see all these symptoms, as I call them, of the underlying cause, which is the size of the cake, then falling away.
Well, great to speak to you. Thank you very much for your time. Adam Molai, industrialist and founder of TRT Investments.